Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Elite City Podcast. We are here to do the pay-per-view roundup. So before I forget, we're at Elite City Pod on all social media. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and smash the like button as hard as you possibly can.
If you're not like doing damage to your device,
Correct.
with how hard you're not smashing it hard enough. You should be smashing it harder.
That doesn't count. It messes up the algorithm.
That's right.
But yeah, Forbidden Door was just a couple days ago. Like I said, we're going to go over the card here in a second. But just initially, what were your initial thoughts on the pay-per-view, sir?
It was a good show. I liked it. This is going to sound like I didn't like it, but it was not on par of like most AEW pay-per-views, in my opinion. But I think that's only because most AEW pay-per-views are like wall-to-wall, absolutely outstanding. And this one was very good. So like it's not on par with like their standard, but that doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination it was not good. It just they've set a very high standard, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. I would give it like a 9 out of 10 personally, just because there are some matches that you're never going to see unless you watch this pay-per-view. But like you just said, if you compare it to another or any other AEW pay-per-view, like you're not having the long payoffs on storylines and this, that, and the other. Like a couple matches had that, but
yeah, there were some like really great matches on the
yeah.
Like I'm not saying it was bad.
Yeah.
Like, some of it was outstanding. I just think there's some shows where every match you're like, oh wow, this one, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe it. And this was like, oh, they're all good. Everything about it was good. I didn't find anything about the show that I thought was bad. But I think they've just hit a very high standard for
absolutely. And with saying that, we'll go right into the pay-per-view. The first match was MJF versus Hechicero, and that was a good match.
Yeah.
I mean, of course.
Do you think MJF wanted the crowd to like crowd surf him around a bit, and they just kind of held him in place?
Yes, because eventually when he was just like, stop.
Yeah.
Down, like, I was pointing that way, and you're clearly not moving me that way.
Yeah, you're just not moving him at all. And I thought like it seemed like you wanted them to like surf him through the crowd. That did not work out. It's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to crowd surf, to be honest.
I mean,
to effectively move around in a crowd.
Oh well, yeah. If you're like trying to get to a place, that would be very hard to. Yeah. Very hard.
I only attempted it once, and I was immediately dropped, and then I never tried it again.
I've done it many times, like back in the day, like when stage dives were still allowed.
Not in like my 40s, in my 20s.
No, yeah, when stage dives were still allowed, done it a million times. But but yeah, like I mean, obviously this was a safety match for him. It's in his hometown. Yeah, he could have just sat in a chair and the crowd would have went nuts.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a solid match.
Yeah, it was a good match.
Hechicero was a very technical wrestler, which I kind of thought was, again, AEW playing it safe, like in case MJF had some, I don't want to say he had ring rust, but I mean, it's one of his first matches back since being off. So like, you don't want to put him in there with someone that goes 200 miles an hour for 40 minutes, you know,
or even someone who's like especially hard hitting, like, you know, when I can't think of a particular person in mind now, but you know, when like they leave a match and like someone's like all bruised, like when they face Danielson and they're like covered in bruises, like you don't want that because what if he's like still kind of injured?
Yeah. So
that's a good match. Like I liked it. It was entertaining. MJF is always entertaining. So
yeah. And he got the win, home crowd, hometown. I mean, even if Hechicero got the pin, he wasn't going to win that crowd over no matter what he did. So like, you know, he could have like literally pulled another human being out of another dimension and been like, I mean, that was okay.
Jeff would like smirk at the crowd and they'd be like, yeah.
He's like, I just made a human appear. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, it was a solid match. MJF wins.
Good choice to start the show
and a great choice to start the show.
Yeah. My first thought was I thought that they were going to start with MJF's music, like just to start the show, kick off with his music. And then I was surprised that they went with Hechicero coming out first. Yes. But then it made sense because then they paused and then they got like some build up where everyone was chanting for MJF because they knew he was coming. So it was a good choice.
Yeah. And then I mean, this card was so stacked. Like the second match that followed the MJF match was we have the Elite and the Acclaimed with Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Just it's like, oh, that's second. Unreal. Again, I wrote down when I was watching it, this is better than I thought. Not that I thought that they couldn't put on a good match, because obviously everybody there is very talented. I just didn't think that I would care that much, if that makes any sense.
No, it does, because I get it.
Yeah, I was invested in it, and I'm sorry I cut you off, but like I enjoyed the match. But go ahead with your thought.
I feel the same thing. Like, it was like there's obviously a feud with the Acclaimed and
right,
the Young Bucks, and obviously Tanahashi and Okada have a history, but it did seem like it was kind of going to be just we're going to pick some guys from New Japan, we're going to have a good match, and it had more of a story and more emotional aspect to it than I thought. It was a good match. I liked it.
Yeah,
I thought it would be more shenanigan filled.
Same. That's what I was just gonna say. It was actually a pro wrestling match.
Yeah, that's my. I've said this before on the podcast, and I don't want to just repeat myself, but that's my only problem. I like the Young Bucks and the Elite right now. Mm-hmm. I wish they were like cheating more. To be honest, like they should be more jerk. Like they should be more obnoxious. They should be like, I don't know, bend the rules more and just like make you hate them a little bit more, because they're just like screwing people over.
Yeah. I will say I loved the full Reebok outfits.
That was funny. Yeah,
that was incredible. Like,
I love that the Elite comes out of the middle of the tunnels too. That's fun.
Yeah,
and they actually timed it properly this time. You know, when the Young Bucks come out and then they flip the coin and the coin lands. Yes. And it's both. They actually timed it so when the coin hit the ground, the coin sound played. Yes. Usually they're like a little bit off, but they did it properly this time. It was good.
It was very good. It was just a fun match. The Acclaimed are still insanely over. Do you think the Acclaimed get another? Well, I mean, we know they have a shot. Do you think they actually win the titles?
Yeah, I think they do, and I think this match kind of not really telegraphs that, but makes it seem more likely that the Acclaimed wins, because like the Acclaimed won the first match, and then the Bucks won. And it wasn't a tag match, but the Bucks won this match.
Right.
So then it would make sense that the next one, even though this wasn't a tag match, like the Acclaimed will probably win the next. And that would make sense, because I think they wanted the Elite to have all of them to have belts.
Right.
And now that that's been accomplished, spoiler alert, they can move on. And I think they've built up the Acclaimed again. For the while, the Acclaimed is pretty cool, like pretty cooled down.
Yeah.
And they've built them up quite a lot now again. So, and it wasn't hard. Like, they're over and they're entertaining. So it's not hard to heat them back up again. So I think they win.
Just a question. Does it make you semi-nervous anytime Max talks that he's going to say something that he shouldn't?
Yeah, a little bit. He's like, he has a track record of being like, you should know at this point not to say certain things. Like, he's been on TV for a while. He should. But every time I'm just like, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, like it. I mean, I get that it adds to his gimmick.
To his like gimmick that like, oh, what's he gonna say?
But it's still like there's that like, I probably shouldn't have said that. And then he doesn't get in trouble anymore. But it's like I do have moments like, oh, dude, that's gonna cost you. Or they just like say, hey, if you don't mind paying, we're gonna fine you.
Yeah, I just don't want him to like get suspended.
Yes.
And then not get a title match because he said something wrong.
Like,
which is entirely possible.
Yes, which is dumb because it's like his entrance too. Like, it's not like he got caught on a hot mic somewhere. It's like, no, you could have avoided that.
Yeah.
Moving right along, the first Owen match of the night, the men's quarterfinal, Bryan Danielson and Shingo Takagi. And the winner the match had the stipulation. The winner goes on to face Pac this Wednesday on Dynamite. Spoiler alert, it's Danielson. This was one of the matches that I thought New Japan was going to possibly win. This was our only. This gave you the win for the pay-per-view too.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now that Biddy hasn't been on in a while, I got my groove back.
Yeah. Which was weird. This was our only different one, so I knew like it was early on that I lost.
Very anticlimactic. It's not like it went to the last match.
Yeah, no, I was third match in, and I was like, well, okay, I can quit keeping score. But yeah, this was a masterclass of wrestling. It was fun to watch, and I mean, it was almost like an experience that you were part of it. They had the crowd so invested in it. It was fun. I love this match.
I know Danielson loves, like, you could tell he's having a good time, and he loves this. He's having a great time, and that's great. Like, I love that. I hope that, no offense to the match, great match. I love it. But I hope that he gets into like an actual storyline now, because his time as a full-time guy is running out.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have him just do a bunch of great matches with a bunch of random opponents, or not random, but like bunch of various opponents. Right. And he's having fun, and all the matches are good, and the crowd's into them, and there's no problem with that. But I want to see him in, like, because he's a good guy. He's not just a good wrestler. He's good on the mic. He's good psychology-wise. He could be in like a top level feud, and I hope that comes next.
It's time. I mean, even if he insists on not winning the match, I want to see, like, well, there's no pay-per-view in July. Let them build through. Well, Forbidden Door probably won't be him, but if it is, that'll give you like a full 8 weeks to build a match for him with just one other person.
Yeah, and if it doesn't have to be the world title. It can be anything. Like, put him in a match with someone who he could have a real in-depth feud with. It's because, like, the matches are great. No, I'm not saying anything negative about the matches, but I like that he could do. I think he wants Tony Khan is just kind of just letting him do what he wants, and this is what he wants. And if that's what he wants, that's cool. He's having fun, and it's not like he's not entertaining. He clearly is.
Right.
But I would just selfishly, I would like to see him do more.
Agreed. But again, there's really nothing to complain about, but
because it's not like he's not doing a great job. Like, it's not like, and we'll talk about it more later, but it's not like it's like Jericho where they're like, oh, they're letting him do what he wants, and I don't want to see it, and it's boring, and I hate it. Right. But like, no, this is like, he's getting to do what he wants, and it's fun and entertaining, and it's good. So I'm not really complaining. I just want him to do more because I know he's so good.
Yeah. And I even wrote in my notes for this match that the fans actually won this match because it was so good. Like,
it was really good.
And
Danielson have a bad match?
Like, I don't think.
Because even he had that match with Satnam Singh, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see him have a bad, like, an actual bad, as long as the other guy's trying. Like, if the other guy was just like, I'm just going to stand here. I think if the other guy was just going to stand there, I think he could still do it.
Yeah, because he would turn into like a chain wrestling match where he would just do all the work and make it look like, that's what it would turn into. He'd put the person on the ground and just put them in holds.
Yeah.
What a human. I was going to say one more thing about that match, and I can't remember. Okay. What was your opinion on the verbal tap? Like, again, it's one of those things on TV. I knew exactly what was happening. Like, do you think they should have done it a little differently for the crowd there?
I get that it's weird for the people in the audience because they didn't see anything. Maybe it should have been more obvious that, like, he was shaking his head very obviously. Shaking his head yes or something, like nodding, obviously. But then I was thinking, the idea of a verbal tap, like calling it a verbal tap, is weird because if you watched wrestling like we did before UFC was a big thing, every submission was a verbal tap, weren't they?
Well, that's true, because they would ask him, do you quit? That's true. That's true.
Like, I remember Bret Hart having people like in the sharpshooter and the other guy like nodding his head up and down to quit. Yeah. So maybe he should have been more animated with his submission.
True. But like I said, that's like a minor because, like I said, on the television side, I knew exactly what was happening, but I just was thinking there, like, especially if their back was to you, like maybe if they were facing you, you could at least see, like, oh, okay, both of his hands are trapped. Like, it was just, it would have been weird if you were there.
Right. I agree.
But moving right along, the AEW Women's World Title between Timeless Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. First off, I knew this match was going to be incredible when Mina came out with both wrestlers. She came out with Tony and then came back and then went back. And that was hilarious. Me and you talked about
everybody in this has played their role properly. Like Mariah May, Luther, the rest, like everybody in it has done their role perfectly.
Yes. And I was going to say, me and you talked about this last week. This was the best story in the Forbidden Door era. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It crossed, you know, it actually made sense with somebody that used to be in Japan, and, you know, they brought it to the United States, and it just worked so well. And I mean, Tony. I mean, she's amazing.
And it added a new dimension to Toni Storm. She wasn't just like the crazy, you know, out of her mind starlet. She now she has emotions. Now she cares about things. Now she it was the only, I said it on the preview show, the only thing I'm sad about is that it's over now, this feud, because it was so good.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I will say one thing, talking about Toni Storm being crazy. You didn't say you watched the preview.
No.
The pre-show. Go back and just watch Mariah May's entrance during her match, because Toni comes out like she was getting ready, but like her hair's half in curlers. She had like one slipper. Oh yeah, she had like one slipper on it. It was like what?
She's the best.
It's a wrestling match. Like, you're not like getting ready for an acting role or a play. Like,
she's the best because she took what rightly so is a stupid gimmick.
Yes,
and she made it so good in every way. She's been outstanding.
Yeah. I mean, it is the best. It's the best gimmick. The best anything that she's involved in is the best thing on TV right now.
Yeah. And like the storyline was great. There was the whole, you know, who's Mariah May going to side with? There was the whole, does Toni Storm actually care about her? Or is she just jealous? There was, all of it was everything. Everything about it was good. The match was good. They're both great wrestlers. Like, it wasn't one of the cases where like, the storyline's good, but then the match is meh. Like, the match is also great. They're both really good in the ring. They're both good at telling stories in the ring. They're both good at like being emotional with their, like, it wasn't just wrestling for the sake of wrestling. They like told a story there. Like, everything about it was good.
Now, my question to you is this over?
I think so, only because at the end, Toni like shook her hand and they all hugged and walked out together. I feel like that's the end of it.
See, I thought so too. Though I would really like to see the three-way dance, but that's just me.
Yeah,
that's just me being greedy.
I said before, if this continued on for like another month or two, I'd be perfectly fine with it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, it was so good.
This was the perfect blend of, you're right, it's the best story in Forbidden Door history. That like was built up during Forbidden Door. And it's the perfect blend of how you bring someone over from another company and integrate them into a storyline, and how you have a emotional story and a fun, like they're funny at the same time. Mm-hmm. It had like great wrestling. It had drama. It had everything. It was great. Everything about it was great.
Yeah. And like it you know, it's going to sound very negative when I say this, but it also proves that you should relish wrestling history just because the stuff that's ingrained in it. Like, I mean, Deonna Purrazzo and Toni Storm's first feud was just based off of them being friends. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. So, like the things that they have now, and the way that things are set up now, I think that this is this match was a major step forward for Forbidden Door.
Yeah, because especially now, because there's so many wrestlers who've gone from AEW, from New Japan especially to AEW, but also some the other way around.
Right.
That they have like a kind of a built up history now. It's not just like two companies that are unrelated coming together for dream matches. It's, you can build on, like they did it in the main event later. You can build on what's happened in Forbidden Door before. You can build on what's happened in New Japan. You can build on what's happened in AEW or outside of either of those companies. Like you can go lots of places with it now. It is, you're right. It's kind of like the template for how they should handle these feuds, and they should all end with the competitors kissing at the end.
Yes. Yes.
Everyone. every Forbidden Door match from now on.
Just
whoever's in the match, they have to kiss.
And I And I want to see Ishii and Eddie have a match then.
And then they're like, nope, sorry, in the rules. It says you have to kiss at the end. And they're like, okay, well, if it's in the rules.
Right. We will not dishonor pro wrestling.
That's right. We respect this business.
Right after this match, we learned that we're going to get a Forbidden Door opening the other way.
Yes.
In January. AEW Dynasty. Is that
Wrestle
what it's
Dynasty.
Called? Wrestle Dynasty. I was going to say that doesn't
different from AEW Dynasty, which is a separate pay-per-view.
Yes. Yeah.
This seems like it's an amalgamation of Wrestle Kingdom and Dynasty, to be honest.
Yeah. I like how they added Ring of Honor to it.
NCMLL.
NCMLL. Excuse me.
Do you think this is going to take the place of the AEW show Dynasty? Because that was earlier in the year, right?
Well, wait, doesn't Dynasty already have a 2025 date?
Does it? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, you're right. It does.
It's in Washington, I think.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, now, well, my neighbor's lighting off fireworks. So if that's coming off the next half hour, is probably going to, I apologize.
It's July 2nd.
Oh, dude, man's the crazy guy on the block. It could be a Wednesday in November and he's outside blowing something up.
Dynasty doesn't have a date yet.
Okay.
All they have coming up is All In, All Out, Wrestle Dream, Full Gear, World's End.
Okay.
Dynasty this year was April, so maybe they combined a Wrestle Kingdom and Dynasty together, or they're gonna have Wrestle Kingdom, then Wrestle Dynasty, then Dynasty. We don't know.
Or that would work too. My question is it going to be, are we going to be able to get it on pay-per-view?
I'm assuming so, because it's like AEW is involved. Though they might do it on like New Japan World where they have stuff. I don't know.
Oh, that's true too.
And I don't know how pay-per-views work in the US because I watched them on Fight, Triller, and they're in New Japan pay-per-views are on there too. So like it's all from the same place. So nothing will change for me.
I gotcha. That's just that was interesting. I thought it was a really cool one of those things like that. Obviously, Tony Khan runs a tighter ship than people led him to believe because that didn't leak.
Yeah, and it's right after. It's like the day after Wrestle Kingdom, right?
It's close. I don't know if it's the day after, but we'll say it's very close.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Have a big New Japan show and then a big joint
everybody show. Yeah. But moving right along, we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy. 2 pay-per-views in a row. Orange Cassidy wore the dark denim.
And he had Jane is his theme.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And he kind of had like a bit of an attitude, like more of an attitude than usual.
Yeah. And the fact that the match started with chain wrestling, I thought was like a nice little wrinkle, like because it had none of the normal Orange Cassidy-ish starts.
Yeah. Wait, no, it's not Jane. Jane's his regular theme, right? It was the other theme.
Yeah. It was
what's it called now? I know how it goes, but I
was just gonna sing it. Like you're like, what's it called? And I was just start singing it. Like
I don't remember what it's called now. That's annoying me. It's from Fight Club, right?
I believe so.
I think now I have to look this up. It's not Jane. Jane's what he usually uses.
Yeah, that's the Best Friends song.
Yeah. Now it's bugging me, and I don't even know what to look up because I just like Orange Cassidy theme song. Jane comes up.
We'll just look up original Orange Cassidy.
Where is my mind? There you go.
There it is. As soon as you said it.
Yeah.
From my notes, Orange Cassidy in this match proved again that he is the AEW workhorse. Yeah. I mean, literally, he wrestled Zack Sabre Jr., who has wrestled like Bryan Danielson and like has masterclass matches, and he had one with Orange, and Orange like kind of didn't even do Orange stuff, which made it awesome.
Yeah. I also wanted to say that I love that like dark Orange Cassidy is just like kind of more annoying. Like he's not kind of more annoyed with things. He's not like mean.
Yeah.
He's just like kind of more sarcastic than regular Orange Cassidy. And it's but there's a difference. You can like he acts differently. Mm-hmm. But like he's not angry. He's just like kind of more like jaded. I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you think that Zack Sabre Jr. will sign with AEW one day?
I think that they will definitely want him to and try hard. And from what we learned from Okada, New Japan doesn't seem to pay at the level of AEW. So
right,
it seems pretty easy if they want him and he wants to be there that he probably will go. And they've given him the Will Ospreay treatment where he comes in early and he gets to have some big matches and gets to look like a big deal. And then I think he will.
I think so too. And we're just gonna be so blessed. This match was it wasn't my match of the night, but it was my favorite match, if that makes sense. Like, I know that really doesn't, because as I said, I liked one better.
It was a great match. I liked it a lot.
I just can't get enough of Zack Sabre Jr. He's so good.
He does like chain wrestling and submission wrestling and like small joint wrestling, but he makes it interesting. Because a lot of the time the problem is like if you're doing like very small maneuvers with someone's arm or something, like that's not that interesting to watch on TV.
Yes,
but he makes it interesting to watch because he's like he does kind of tell a story with it, even though it's submission wrestling. He does a great job.
And like again, me and you have talked on the podcast here before how Orange Cassidy knows how Orange Cassidy or Danhausen would react in a situation. When Orange had Zack Sabre in the figure four and he kept trying to put Orange's hands in his own, he was going, "Come on, put him in, go." Like
that was great.
He knows his character. It was so good.
It was great.
Now from good to man, that was something. We had the I guess they're called the Learning Tree versus Hook, Joe, and Shibata. Hook, Joe, and Shibata were very entertaining in this match.
This is definitely a match that occurred.
It happened. Definitely did. It took up some time on the card.
I have to say, I don't like Jericho's gimmick, but when they were chanting "Please retire" and he took the mic to be like, "No, you just want to cheer for me because I'm from here." Like that was A, kind of funny, but B, also it was a good like veteran wrestler move to do that because then they stopped chanting "Please retire" and started booing him, which is what he wanted. So he does know what he's doing. It's just he's not that entertaining these days.
Yes. Like, you know, Hook gets the pin and they made it seem like that like him and Jericho were feuding for like the past 7 years. Like
they will. I mean, they're going to.
Right, but like they were like, "Oh, he hit him with his own move." Like Hook's fine. Like, I mean, Hook has been in like major feuds on like television for a couple years now. Like,
I didn't like because like the show that I was at, the Dynamite that I was at, was the one when Hook kind of just suplexed him around for 10 minutes and then somehow beat him with like a roll up or something, which annoyed me. I think he should have choked him out. But anyway, that match, like Hook dominated him there. So why now are they like, Hook beat him? I'm like, Hook already beat him very badly.
So, you know, it is what it is.
And it just made me think this is going to continue. This is not the end. There's going to be more Hook Jericho stuff.
I hope not.
I think there will be, just because of this. He's going to be like, "Oh, you beat me, but it was a singles match, so we need to have another match." But I like Joe and Hook and Shibata. They're fun.
They were the most entertaining part of this. Like everybody doing Joe's like just walk out of the way thing, and Joe being like a proud father watching from the sideline makes me happy.
I do like the general gimmick of Jericho's try to act like he's helping people and he's gonna like help this new generation, and then Samoa Joe is actually helping people and actually being a mentor. I like that. I just don't like Jericho being on TV this much. Like that's the only thing.
I agree, but the person that is like kind of shining through this whole thing is Brian Keith.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I've wanted the bounty hunter. Like, if you told me, like, oh, he's going to be with Jericho.
He's the bad apple now. You got to call him bad apple.
That's what I was just going to get to. Like, someone that, like, I really followed and knew and was so happy that they made it. And I was like, if you were to tell me a year ago that they're going to be the bad apple in the Jericho learning tree, I would have said, please no, please no, anybody but him. Please.
That's the thing. Like, he's entertaining. I love his like bit of respect for Jericho. Like, that's funny. I love that.
When he told Angelo Parker, his unborn kid,
that baby bit of respect for Jericho. Like, that was funny.
That's the highlight of this whole story.
Randomly, it's unrelated. Like, they were just talking about how he's gonna be father. He's like, the baby better respect for Jericho.
That was amazing.
Like the angriest voice, but like not angry, like fake angry. It was it was funny.
Yes.
And I mean, Big Bill is funny. Like, they're both funny. I don't know.
I will say, last week when Big Bill was just walking around the arena going, this place is built really well. I did laugh. I will say,
is like, he's funny, and you're right. Brian Keith is funny. Like, they're even sometimes like the lame dad jokes that Jericho tells are kind of funny. I can't take the voice. I know he's doing the voice to like seem like he's full of himself, but like, I hate it. I hate it so much that it makes me not want to see anything else that he's doing.
And I hate that, like, you know, that it's not just going to be something that happens before a commercial. Like, it's going to be like 3.5 minutes long, and it's going to feel like it's 2 hours long.
Yeah. Like, I saw someone say he does seem like he's a guy playing a heel on TV.
Yeah.
Not a heel. If he just started being annoying and he just started like acting like he's better than everyone, fine. But like, he seems like I know that people don't like me, so I'm gonna act like I'm annoyed. Like, no, I don't. No, nobody does that. Nobody does that in real life. If you just had like a coworker who was like, I know everyone in the office hates me, so I'm gonna act extra annoying. Like, that guy's a jerk. You don't want to be around him. Like,
and like, even if they'd make it like the old like APA segments, like, those were absurd. But what 90 seconds. And right before a commercial or right after a commercial, and then you go right back to the show.
Yeah.
If they were to like give him like an office or something where like he could talk to rookies, if you were to just break in and do something like that real quick,
or randomly had him like two backstage segments that are like a minute long each.
Yeah,
that would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be all about it, because it was like, oh, okay, that was funny. You broke the show up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Jericho would get his like, oh, he'd get his jabs in at this person or that person, whatever. But this is just,
I know that's part of the gimmick, to be like, I'm gonna hog all this time, but like, if your gimmick is this I don't want to do like another 20 minutes on this, but like, I talked about this before. This screams like Vince McMahon booking, where you're like, I know people hate this thing, so I'm gonna put it on extra just to make them mad. Like, no, don't. Just try to make a good TV show instead. Like, take the little bits that are funny, do those bits.
Yes.
Do like them backstage talking to Angelo Parker and threatening his baby. Do this building's well built. Do like the little dad jokes. Do like where he goes to throw his t-shirt and then doesn't throw the t-shirt. That's funny.
That was good. Yes.
But then just do that.
Yeah.
You're right. And then don't do like 10 minutes afterwards.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Moving along. Now, I will say that match was placed very well.
Yes, it was.
Because, I mean, going into the final here, the final stretch, you had the TNT title ladder match, excuse me.
Yes.
Which was Dante Martin, El Phantasmo, Jack Perry, Takeshita, and Lio Rush.
And Mark Briscoe.
Sorry. My thumb was over Mark Briscoe. I was like, that doesn't. There he is. And Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe's insane. That's my first thought. El Phantasmo was a great add to the match.
Yeah, it was a fun addition.
It was, you know, it got the New Japan person in there. It, like, I wish it would have been somebody that like maybe had a little history with somebody, but again, it didn't matter. He did really well.
Yeah, he did well, and he was there was zero chance of him winning this match.
Oh, 100,000%.
But it was fun. Like, he was. You need a guy in a ladder match who's just gonna do stuff and like be there to do cool things and like.
Yes.
Be involved. Yeah.
And speaking of, I thought Dante Martin was going to be a little gun shy, considering, his last ladder match, he was.
Yeah. I mean, they leaned into that, which was good.
But he didn't look like he missed a step. I mean, he was. Well, I mean, he's always insane, but.
Yeah. What did you think of them when he was like, "Oh, my ankle's hurt," and they're like, "Oh, maybe his ankle's hurt," which you knew definitely it wasn't. But what did you think of that?
Because I've watched pro wrestling long enough, I knew that he didn't get hurt again.
Yeah. Right.
But I understand why they did it, obviously, to play, to push that narrative of him just coming back.
He should have spent some time with Danielson or Buddy Matthews and learned how to fake an injury, because Buddy Matthews is an expert. He's faked several injuries, and it looks real every single time.
Yeah.
He manages to do a really good job of it. So this was like, he wasn't actually hurt. It's fine, I get it, but he wasn't actually hurt.
Can we say this could have been a turning point for Takeshita? The crowd really let their voice be known on they want him to be more prominent.
I mean, there needs to be he's had a lot of turning points. He had when he first got big, and then he had feuding with, he had a match with Danielson, right?
Kenny, I believe too.
Yeah, and he beat Kenny Omega. He had the feud with Jericho, which it wasn't even that long, the feud with Jericho. It was fine.
Right.
He's had a lot of moments where oh, this is it, and then it hasn't been. So I hope it is now.
Well,
I hope they don't Wardlow him, where every couple weeks they're like, this is his time, and then it's not.
I hope so too. Man, it just hurt me that you just said that. His Blue Thunder Bomb on El Phantasmo through the tables was beautiful. And
those tables smashed. They didn't just.
Oh yeah, they exploded.
Yeah.
It just this whole match was insane and fun.
I have to say, I typically haven't enjoyed a lot of his stuff, but my MVP of this match was Jack Perry. I thought he did the best.
I was just going to say that he deserved the win. He really proved that he is a leader, and that he is I don't want to say bleeds AEW, but he's really showing who he is.
And this is going to sound like a negative, which is not really.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with most ladder matches is there's a lot of everyone else stands around while two guys do a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of oh, why going to put you under this ladder, and don't just roll and knock the ladder off. Just stay there, hold it. There was one where Mark Briscoe set Takeshita up, and you could see Takeshita holding onto the ladder, and I'm just you could just move. That's so and that's not a shot at any of them. That's 90% of ladder matches is contrived spots and people standing around while two other people do a contrived spot. But Jack Perry made it. He didn't do that. He set up spots. He just set them up and did them quickly, and they weren't an elaborate. It was the opposite of what the Young Bucks would do, because the Young Bucks will set up very elaborate things. They're oh, we're going to stack 3 tables, and this ladder's going to go here, and then we're going to climb up there, and then you have to climb up at the exact right time, and then we're going to jump up. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
His spots were they seemed more realistic. And when he wasn't involved, he wasn't just standing on the outside. He was either doing something, or he was hurt and he was selling an injury, or he seemed the most professional and the most TV trained, which makes sense because he's been on TV a long time.
Yeah.
He seemed like the most professional TV trained guy in this match, in my opinion.
I can't argue with that. He was definitely him and Mark Briscoe were the stars of this match. But again,
he's grown a lot. So I remember thinking last year for Bindor, he had that match where he turned on Hook, and everyone was kind of just no one really cared about him. And then he had, the feud with Hook was pretty good. When he turned heel, that was pretty good. Even the match with the Real Glass, that was pretty good.
Right.
And then, but he's come back. I think maybe it was his time in Japan, or maybe just time away. He's had time to reflect on his character, or reflect on his wrestling, or just, watch some other stuff. Maybe he watched some people in Japan do stuff or whatever, because he's grown a lot.
Yes.
A lot since he's come back.
I agree. And how awesome was it when the crowd was chanting, "We want real glass"?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's me and this crowd are friends. they get it. Yeah, I agree. He is. I don't want to say like that he found his character, but I think he totally killed Jungle Boy, if that makes any sense.
Yes. I think he has a reason to be a heel now, right? Well, not really. I mean, realistically, he should be the face. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Where like he got attacked backstage by a random crazy person, so like he should be the face, not the heel.
Right.
But anyway, he didn't really have that much of a reason to be a heel before, but now he seems like he's bitter and angry, and that's his reason for being a heel, and it works.
Yeah.
And I also realized as this happened that last year they didn't even mention it, but last year his gimmick going into Forbidden Door, his angle was he really wanted to win a title. He hadn't won a title yet, a singles title.
Oh, that's right.
And he failed at winning the AEW title. So he's like, I'm going to try to win the New Japan title. And he failed at that too. And then he won the FTW title and was like, this counts. This is my title. When like everyone knows that's not a sanctioned title. But then now, a year later at Forbidden Door, he won a singles title.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Good for him.
Yeah, great for him. Yeah, I think he deserves it, especially after everything that he went through. That, like you said, it wasn't his fault.
Right.
He can't help that he got attacked by a crazy person.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the idea of that he wanted to fall through glass is kind of insane. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's wrestling.
And he's a grown adult. And if a grown adult, if a grown man's like, hey, I'm gonna jump through that glass, or hey, do it, man. And you're an adult. Like, no, I mean, a kid says that, yeah.
Say, hey, are you sure you want to do that? Because that sounds dumb. But
no, I wouldn't even say that. Like, if I'm around a bunch of adults and one person's like, hey, I'm gonna jump through this glass. Like, hey, do it. You're an adult. Like, I'll have 9 and 1 already dialed on the phone, but
nice.
I'll be getting ready for the third one or second. No, you're an adult. Moving right along. Title versus title. What a freaking match. Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer. This was my match of the evening.
Yeah, it's good.
I just read something right before we went on air that Mercedes did everything in her power that she was going to get Stephanie over with the American crowd. And nice. I think she did.
Yeah. I hope they turn her heel because she like we've said before, she acts like a heel and the crowd kind of turned her heel.
Yeah.
In this match. I hope they go with it. That was my problem with, not to bring up Punk again, but that was my problem with when Punk came back and the crowd was, half cheering and half booing him. And he had his thing with the real world title where he was acting like a jerk. And like the crowd was kind of booing him, but the announcers and the booking kind of still painted him as a face.
Yeah.
But like, I think she should go with it. Just like, you can't, if people are going to boo someone, it's so hard to get them to turn to cheering them. So just go with the boos and make her a heel because she's good at it.
Yeah. Yes. And I think kudos to Stephanie for, I think she turned a lot of heads.
Yeah.
And she might have got herself a job if her, I don't know her contract situation.
I mean, Forbidden Door does kind of seem like it's like AEW holding auditions.
Basically,
like, hey, do you want to come here? And maybe you like it, and maybe you get over. And hey, also we have a lot of money. Like, it does kind of seem.
Yeah,
I can see why other promotions might be a little hesitant to allow their people to come over. But in the same sense, it also does put some spotlight on their companies. So,
and the fact that AEW doesn't again, it's a corporation. I'm not gonna stick up for them totally, but at the end of the day, like you said, them working together is one thing, but if they take people, they also, that makes room for next year who's going to step up.
Right. And they don't take people in the sense that you can never see them again. Right?
Yeah. If it goes the other way too.
If Will Ospreay was going to wanted to have a match in Japan, they would let him go back and have a match in Japan.
Yeah.
They're kind of say no, you're not allowed anymore.
Right. So, do you think this feud is over? I do not.
I do, because I think the point of it was to get that title on Mercedes, and they accomplished that. So I think it's and obviously now we know what the next feud is, and I'm very excited about that.
Well, yeah, we'll get there in about 2 seconds. Well, obviously Mercedes won. She got her Stardom title back, and
New Japan Strong title.
New New Japan Strong title. Excuse me. I put the cart before the horse there, because watching it live, I was like, that's weird. Like, there wasn't any confetti, there wasn't any, and then the music hit.
Yeah, I was so excited.
I jumped up and applauded. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, returned, and people were very excited.
Yeah,
it was.
She looks like she's in great shape. She's ripped now.
She's very ripped. She looked ready. The crowd looked ready. This
is going to be good for all.
This is going to be very, very, very good.
And I think they are going to make Mercedes the heel, and Britt Baker is going to be like, you can't walk in and say that you're in charge of this division. I'm in charge of this division. I think it's going to be fun.
Now, well, this is Tuesday evening here, but tomorrow night is Dynamite. Mercedes gets a double party, I guess, for winning. Yeah. Obviously Britt's going to show up, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It'd be silly if she didn't.
Now that brings the next question. When are we going to see Jamie Hayter?
I mean, if she's not ready to come back to the ring, like to wrestle, I think it would be really cool as if they had Britt and Mercedes at All In, and Jamie Hayter came out at the end, either to celebrate with Britt or to cost Britt the match or something, like to be involved in it somehow.
That would be awesome.
And I think that's going to come. That's probably where she comes back. She comes back at All In, and then she gets a huge pop when she comes back, and then either she's with Britt or she's not with Britt. But yeah, I think that's what happens.
And now I want that to happen too. Wow. IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. This is my other wild card. Mox versus Naito.
With Jim Ross on commentary.
Which was a surprise because, 3 days before that, he was in the ER.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Not only did he look good, he sounded good.
He sounded really good. For a while, his previous commentary times, you could tell his voice was a little weak or a little hoarse. Like he was having a hard time. He didn't sound like JR, but he sounded great. He was on the ball. This was some of his best commentary he's had in a while.
Yes. And I know, me and you have talked about this a million times. He's like the voice of our wrestling generation.
Yeah.
But he can make a moment that seems lackluster into a moment in history.
Yeah, he adds so much to the shows, to the matches that he's in, because he's not Excalibur, right? He's not going to call the moves. He doesn't have he's not even going to talk about the history of the wrestlers or anything. But you're right, he's going to make it seem important, and he's going to say oh yeah, when you get hit like that, it affects you in the following ways, right? Or now you need to have an extra gear because it's late in the match. He makes it seem important, and he explains it not from a technical standpoint. He's not a wrestler. He's not like Taz or Excalibur or Nigel, who say, oh, I've been a wrestler before. I know when you do this move. Taz sometimes will be, oh, we're in this submission. Try to roll to your left.
Yeah.
That's how you get out of it, right? JR is not doing that, but JR will add some extra drama to it. Oh yeah, remember he has an injured arm, or remember it's late in the match, he gets tired, or something. He adds so much to it.
And you just take it verbatim, you don't think about oh, he's talking about, he didn't do this, but he's talking about Mox's elbow. You assume that what he says is, gospel, and you take it in that moment. And Jim Ross is just the best. This was through and through a very Japanese wrestling match, but with a little bit of an American flair.
Yes.
And it was so fun. Oh, it was so fun.
I'm going to sound like a bad wrestling fan. Was it slow for you? I thought it was slow. I get it.
That's why it was a Japanese match. Yeah.
It was a Japanese style match. I totally get it. And some Japanese style matches seem a little slow for me. It's not the length of the match and not the way that they were moving. And I totally understand why they do it. But there was a lot of we're both down.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a minute or two to get up. And I totally understand that because they were selling it as like a huge epic fight where like they're giving it their all and every punch knocks them out. I get it. But just from what AEW tends to give you, it seemed very different.
Yeah, I'll see. Yeah.
I'm not saying it like in a bad way even.
Yeah. No, I see that.
I like how they did it. I mean, it made sense. It was a New Japan match, right, for a New Japan title, so it made sense that it was different. But it seemed that maybe it's because I watched it when I was like tired and it was late, but it seemed a little slow. But it was fine.
Now I have a question for you. Did this match solidify like Mox the king of like international pro wrestling?
Yeah, I'd say so. He's done a lot with New Japan. Mox is another guy just like Danielson that I like. They have good matches and they're just out there having fun, right? They're just getting to do what they always dreamed of doing. I want to go to Japan and I want to fight all these guys who I've always wanted to wrestle like that. I get it. I want Mox to be in a real feud on TV, like AEW feud now, because he's kind of just been doing the same thing Danielson's been doing, which is fine. Like the matches are all good, but it's a lot of, I'm going to go to Japan and wrestle this guy, and then I'm going to wrestle this guy, and then this guy, and the matches are all good. But like, what's the story other than I want to wrestle Japanese legends, and I want it to be like he's also good at storytelling. He's also good at storylines. He's not just a good wrestler. So I would like to see him do something now that the New Japan title's no longer with him. I would like to see him do something.
Well, I was going to say, put you on the spot now that you brought it up. Who would you pick?
I don't know. It's hard with Mox because I've said before, like Mox's thing is, I love Mox as a wrestler. Right. I sound like I don't, but I do. His whole thing is like he's vicious and he'll go further than anyone else will, and he likes to get hurt and he likes to make people hurt, and like, so he does seem a little overpowered. Like anyone else where you match them up with Mox, you'd be like, yeah, Mox is winning.
No, yeah.
So it seems a little like I don't think it'll happen just because of the way we are right now. Like Mox against Swerve would be really fun. Not even because Swerve is the champion. Just like Mox against Swerve would be really fun because they're both kind of have that aura of like they're willing to do anything. Yeah. So that would be cool. But I know that's not happening because Swerve's the champion and I don't think Mox is going to go after the title. So I don't know. What do you think?
After I said it, I don't know. Like, if you're going to put me on the spot right now, the first person that popped in my head, and I don't know why, was Roderick Strong. I have nothing to back that up other than that was the first person that popped in my head.
All right. What about Jay White? I thought Jay White just right now.
Jay White would be real good with Mox. But going back to what we just said a few minutes ago, how good would Takeshita Mox be?
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do something. I wanted to do something where it's not like he doesn't have to have like a several months long feud, but like have like a 2-month thing where he builds up something against someone and then it blows off in a match. Because I like Mox and I want to. This sounds going to sound bad, but I want to care about what he does again, and that's not disrespect to like the New Japan title, but like I don't know most of those people he's wrestling, and I don't see most of the times when he goes to Japan. I don't watch them.
Right, so that's what I was just going to say. Yeah,
I want to care a lot about a thing that he's doing because one of my favorite early AEW things was Revolution 2020 when he faced Jericho for the title. I think that's the first AEW pay-per-view I bought.
Okay.
Some of them I'd watched clips of before. I bought that one because like the lead up between him and Jericho was just so good that I was like, I have to see this. So I want to care that much about him again.
Yeah. I'm all about that. That sounds awesome. We are on, well, before we move on, Naito won.
Yes.
Which
was good. Good call. That was a good call.
And it needed to happen. It's like these proving grounds matches. Like, you hit the nail on the head months ago. It's like, come on, someone has to win one eventually.
Right.
And finally this year, the Acclaim do. So it's year 3 for Forbidden Door. New Japan needed a win, and they got their belt back.
And one of the big titles needed to change. Like the big titles never change on these shows. So
right. Yeah, that's actually a good point. This is the first, big title that has changed.
Title.
Yeah. And speaking of the world title, the AEW world title was our main event match. Swerve Strickland, the champion, versus Will Ospreay.
This is my favorite match. I love this match.
This match was very good. Like, very good. A lot of people were questioning if Will was ready, and I think he made all those naysayers eat their words.
Yeah. This is a feud, too, that I think they can come back to. Like, these guys are going to be connected forever now.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's great.
And like they should be. They're what the new post, brawl out AEW is. These two. Like, there was the era of early days of Jericho, and then Omega, and then Hangman, and then Punk, and not to say that MJF or someone isn't going to get involved in this
feud, right.
But they're like the new era of AEW, and they're perfect for it. Like, they're exactly what the new era of AEW is. They can tell stories. They can seriously go in the ring. They have great personalities. The crowd loves them. I loved everything about this match. I thought it was really great.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to experience. Like, it was just so fun.
Now this was not slow. This was the opposite of slow.
This was super. Like, the cardio in this match, for both of them was off the charts.
Yeah, they weren't even breathing heavy.
Right.
And they were going nuts. They weren't even it was great. And JR added so much to this.
Oh, JR did. I mean, phenomenal. Swerve's basically unstoppable right now. Yeah. What do you think is next?
Well, it's All In, right? He's going to face the tournament winner. The tournament winner could be kind of anyone. Right?
Yeah.
So it could be Danielson. It could be Pac. They'd both be fun. And the secret opponent could. It seems like it's likely going to be Hangman, unless they throw a Swerve in there, no pun intended.
Right.
Because it's the Bucks have already said that they've handpicked who that person's going to be.
It's true.
Swerve and Hangman would be great. Like, they could do it again. They've been great the last couple times, so why not?
I love everything right now.
Like, Swerve and Daniels would be good. Swerve and Mox would be good.
Yeah.
Swerve and Pac would be good. Like, they could. Swerve he's very versatile. He's he can go, do a high speed crazy match with Will Ospreay like this one. But then I remember him in the C2, like they brought it up. Him in the C2 against Mox, like he can do like a more violent type of match, like he did with Hangman in that very violent match. He could do that. He could do, like, he's not a super technical wrestler, but he could go in a technical match. Like, he's kind of very well rounded.
Yeah, he just keeps, like, I don't want to say proving people wrong, but like, he doesn't even give you a chance to prove him wrong. Like, they put him in a match with, like you just said, he can work Ospreay, he can work Mox, he can work Danielson. Like, he's just like next level good. Again, was fired, but
when we were talking about JR, did you notice JR is the only person left who cares about the rankings?
That's incredible. I did not even notice
that he's like, Ospreay is 18-0, whereas Swerve is 17-1, and they're all just like, okay, sure, I believe you, JR. He's the only one who still brings up records and rankings, and everyone else is just like, okay, yep, you're right, but what are we gonna do?
That's like me and that stupid Dynamite Diamond Ring that I'm the only person that cares. Every October, I'm the only person that cares about.
JR being backstage, be like, there are rankings, remember?
Yes.
Talk about the rankings.
Jim Ross.
It was great. Everything about this was great. What did you think of the ending?
I thought it was really cool that, basically it's just business type deal.
Yeah. I mean, I could see people being upset that Swerve basically got pinned without the ref being there.
Yeah, obviously, but come on.
I knew that was going to happen. I wasn't upset about that because it's wrestling, and that's what you do when you have two guys who are like on the same level and you want to continue the feud. I know this, like, the internet believes, first of all, when anyone loses, they're being buried. And the internet believes that if Swerve looked bad, like, now that ruins his title reign because it showed that he shouldn't actually be shut up. Like, it's wrestling.
Yes.
Like, I liked it. I loved the callback to Don Callis coming back to help him to last year's Forbidden Door, because that's what happened last year. Like, they did a few callbacks to last year's show, which I really liked. I loved the ending. I loved Swerve for some reason getting enraged at Prince Nana for pushing Don Callis, as if he's ever cared about Don Callis before.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Well, this wasn't hilarious, but the shoe print on Ospreay's face from Swerve kicking him was gnarly.
Yeah, like that would look bad. But like all of it, my favorite part was at the end of the show. Ospreay's in the ring and he has like the medical staff checking on him and he's kind of dazed, and Swerve is just in the corner holding the belt up, and Prince Nana's just dancing around. there's medical people in the ring trying to help him, and Prince Nana's just dancing. It was great.
I mean, obviously, it's, we're gonna get United Empire now, right?
Yeah, because Kyle Fletcher came out at the end.
Yeah, I mean,
did you notice, and I don't know if this was on purpose or not, you know how he had his grandmother's name written on his wrist tape, right?
Okay.
When Swerve did the arm breaker thing, that was the arm.
Oh.
That he broke. And I don't know if that was on purpose or that was just that's just what happened. But it kind of felt like, oh, I'm willing to do anything, like even this, right?
Yeah,
like it was wow. Yeah. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I noticed it and I thought that was cool.
See, I didn't notice that, and I still think it's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, what a pay-per-view. It was a lot of fun.
And I realized why this match was so good and this feud was so good. Okay. Because there's a lot of feuds in wrestling that are personal feuds. I hate you, you hate me, we're gonna wrestle, right?
Right.
There's a lot of feuds in wrestling that are, I think I'm a better wrestler than you. No, I'm a better wrestler than you. We're gonna wrestle. There's a lot of feuds that are, I want your belt, and we're gonna wrestle. This had all of it, right? It started off with Ospreay just wanting to be champion, right? And then it became also about who's the better wrestler, who can go farther, who could do more, and then it became personal. So it brought all the reasons to have a wrestling feud into one wrestling feud, and it kind of had the gravity of what you need from a wrestling feud. I forget the line. I was going to write it down and I forgot to. JR said something about how, like, oh, you need tension to have a great wrestling match.
Oh, okay.
And it's right. Like, you could have a great wrestling match between two guys who are great wrestlers and are like, I want to be a better wrestler than you. And like that, like the match was Ospreay and Danielson. Great match. Mm-hmm. But like there was no animosity there, right? There was no tension there. It didn't really matter who won that match, really.
Right.
But like these guys, it mattered to them. It mattered to the audience. It mattered because it was for the belt. It elevated the belt. Like, look how much these guys are willing to do to win. They want the belt. They're not here just because they hate each other. They're not here just because they want to prove they're better. They also want this title.
Right. Oh,
and dude. Swerve talking about how you can't carry it. It's too heavy for you. Like, it was great. I hope this continues. I think this is going to continue, and I love it.
Yeah, I loved it too. Like I said,
I feel like I read way too much into that match, but I liked it, so I feel like I'm allowed to.
No, yeah, I was gonna say it would have been my match of the night, had not the title for title Mercedes and Stephanie match happened.
Yeah. There were several great matches on this card. Like the Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa match was up there too. Like that was yeah.
It was just an all around great show. What would you out of 10? What would you grade the show?
8.5 or 9.
I gave it a 9.
Also. It was really good, but like I said at the top, there's been better shows, but that doesn't mean this one was bad. It's just like the AEW has an unreal track record of having amazing pay-per-views.
I can't argue with that. Do you have any final words before you button things up here, sir?
No, I think this is a great lead up. They've done a great job with Forbidden Door this year, and it's the lead up to All In now, right? Like now you're
true.
Now they have Blood and Guts, which is a big match, but like now for the next 2 months or so, it's going to be build up for All In, and this kind of kickstarted it. Like this kind of felt like the first step on that path, and I'm excited for it.
Same. Same. I cannot wait. This
and
is.
All In does kind of feel like they're WrestleMania now, right? Like last year was just we're gonna have great matches, and it's look how cool it is to be in such a big stadium.
Yeah,
like, that's what the show was, right? But now it's more of like this is everything that the show the company builds towards for the whole year is going to be this. So
yeah, we're in what All In season now.
Yeah, so I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
I'm very, very excited.
I'm excited for Dynamite. If you're listening to this after Dynamite, too bad. But if you're listening to it before Dynamite,
be excited with us.
But yeah, I'm excited for Dynamite too. Beach Break's gonna be fun. I love that they have Beach Break in shows that aren't in cities that aren't known for their beaches.
I know, it's amazing.
Like Cleveland or Chicago. I mean, like, they technically, like, it's great because they technically have beaches, but like they're not known. They're not like Miami, where you're known for your beach. Right. So like, I like it. It's fun.
Yeah, it's tomorrow's gonna be a good show. Well, on that note, we'd like to say thank you again for listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and smash the like button. Yeah. We are Elite City Pod on all social media. Any closing thoughts here before we go?
No, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm excited going forward. It's gonna be good.
Same here. Before we go, there's the 4th of July happens this Thursday. So this will be our show for this week, and we'll be back to regular scheduled programming next week.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Have a safe and happy 4th of July. Unless
you're not in America, then it's just
you're not in America, then it's just a normal day. That is true. But if you're celebrating America tomorrow, or not tomorrow, the following day, be safe. Don't drink too much. Don't blow any arms and legs off. Just have a good day. So until next week, later.